Okay. What do you even say at this point, right? 3, 2, 1. Yo. What's going on, Arkansas Razorback fans, SEC fans everywhere? Welcome to the very frustrated Pig Trail Network YouTube channel. Hope you guys are doing well. Do me a favor. Let's go ahead and hit the likes. I know everyone's just, I don't know. I think if anything, it's like deer in headlights for Razorback fans right now. We're all frustrated. I've got a lot to say. I've got plenty to say. So, yeah, do me a favor. Like, comment, question, do whatever you need to do down in the comment section. Super Chat is enabled, and Super Chat will take priority if it's in there. If there's folks in there utilizing Super Chat. We got cool little stickers, too. I didn't know that until my wife did her little thing last week. I didn't know that. That's cool. Anyways. Also, if you want to be part of the PTN Patreon, that goes towards helping out the channel. And I do appreciate everyone who is a part of that, and I appreciate each and every one of you. Super Chat, Patreon people or not. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. I know everyone's just already jumping off the bus. And normally I would be the guy to step out in front of you, not in front of the bus, but before you get on the bus and say, look, hold on. Let's reevaluate. Let's rethink like you getting off this bus before you jump off. But back-to-back similar performances where the game is clearly over with in the first half, I don't think we saw that last year. I don't think that ever happened last year, at least not back-to-back. Now, there might have been a game or two. I can't really recall. Again, I think that Tennessee road game was pretty ugly. I really have no answers. Kyle and I have talked about it on the Hog Talk podcast. My concern is it that Arkansas's been exploited on film, especially once they got into SEC play? Have they been exploited? You play full court press, heavy man-to-man defense, aggressive in their face, and Arkansas just has no response. And good teams find a way to correct that. And here we are, 2 games back-to-back where we've seen zero signs of any improvement. They worked out with weighted vest on during the week. I don't know that did him any good. Eric Musselman said that might have worn them out, and he was a little bit concerned about their legs, and there is some truth to that. There's a reason why coaches try to take it easy on these guys, because you're playing 2 games a week, and you can't go too hard on them. Maybe that is what happened, or maybe that was a portion of what happened here. Maybe that's some form of explanation that, okay, all right, but still there's a lot happening on the floor that, to me, I don't know if that was a sign of fatigue as much as it was just guys being lost. Their transition defense was ugly. Shot selection, once again, bad. Not still no signs of improvement in the layup game and in the place where you're supposed to be able to pick up easy buckets inside the paint. They don't finish at the rim. I feel like a broken record at this point. And that's not something you fix overnight. But you should start to, especially since we've been keeping track of this. I mean, you had people on social media keeping track of how many layups they were missing since week 2 or since the second or third game in SEC play. There's no sign of improvement. If anything, they've regressed a little bit. Now, I know they started off like 2 of 10 or something in the floor or down in the paint, getting some points down low. Thank God for Moses Moody. Without Moses Moody, you lose this thing by 40-plus points. We've got people in our Discord already jumping ship. And look, I'm not going to tell you not to. I'm not going to stand in your way. I don't have the answer for you. Nobody does. The only people that can answer this are the guys that dress out in those Razorback uniforms and the guy that's coaching them in Eric Musselman. Last year, they saw huge signs of improvement. They went on the road and they beat Georgia Tech. Yeah, that wasn't a great win, but then you went on the road and you beat Indiana, who at the time was playing pretty decent basketball, playing pretty good basketball. And it's not exactly every day that an SEC opponent with a new coach comes in and beats a team of that caliber on the road. He had some moments last year. You won your only SEC game that you played in tournament play. You know, like last year you saw signs, oh, okay, this is an improvement. This is the step in the right direction. So far in year two, I don't know what to say, at least not in conference play. There's so much room for improvement in so many different areas that I don't know. I really don't know what their ceiling is right now. I'm wiping everything I said off right now. I'm wiping it off. I had said that I felt pretty comfortable that this team would do well at home, and they still could. But now I'm at the point, and again, LSU and Bama could very well be the two top teams with Tennessee in the mix in the SEC, and that could have just been a matchup nightmare. That is entirely possible. I want everyone to understand that I get that. I understand the caliber of opponents you just played. But I'm sorry, I don't see LSU as a team that's going to hold 31-point leads the majority of a game. Their defense is not very good. Maybe they get it fixed and they do that. Maybe Alabama's a caliber team that can hold a 35, whatever it was, lead at one point for minute upon minute. There's a lot of explaining that Eric Musselman, he doesn't have the answers right now. At least nothing he's going to tell Razorback media and fans that's going to make anybody feel better about what's going on right now. You're going to have to collect yourself. Auburn is playing much better basketball. I really don't know what you look like inside even Bud Walton Arena. Look, the home factor no longer is a factor. There's nobody in the stands. So what are they allowed? 4,000 people? And don't get me wrong, that can sound loud in Bud Walton. And there is, I should say it's not a factor at all because 4,000 people, I've heard that place with under 5,000 people before. It can get really loud in there, but it's not as much of a factor as it normally would be without COVID. Something we have to keep in perspective is that how many new guys are on this roster, and you're trying to make this transition in a year of COVID. Now, it's not an excuse. That's just what they're dealing with. I don't know of any team that had that kind of turnover when you talk about losing the scoring productivity that you lost from a year ago, right? With Mason Jones and Isaiah Joe, who are apparently doing off to a decent start in their NBA career. And you see when you've got guys, former Razorbacks in the NBA, making some level of a splash at the next level, that tells you you've had to make that up. Not to mention Jimmy Witt and some of that experience. You don't have it. So you're trying to work with former, guys that transferred in freshmen. You're asking your freshmen to step up and play like upperclassmen and to take on the leadership role. It's just not working out. I think talent-wise, and I'll get to your chat here in a minute. I will, trust me. Just give me a minute. Talent-wise, I think they really are top. I think they're top 4, top 5 in the league. I do. I think the talent is there. My God, they just had a top 10 recruiting class, and we've seen what Justin Smith can do when he's 100% healthy and ready to go. We've seen Tate play at a pretty high level on defense. He's one of the best perimeter defenders in the SEC. He is great out on the perimeter on defense, and he can get you 4 or 5 points. He gets into foul trouble too soon, and I think offensively you're not going to ask a whole lot of him, but that's fine. Everyone's got that guy on their roster. At least if they're not in their starting 5, it's someone that comes off their bench who they rely on to help you out, whether it's in the paint on defense or if it's out on the perimeter. We've seen guys at times, we've seen them play really well as a unit. You go back to that game on the road against Tennessee. I don't know how good Tennessee is. They're kind of I think they're one of those question mark teams. Are they really a top 10 team? They were playing like a Final Four team early on in the year, and maybe that's starting to turn a little bit, but they still, I think they're, at the time when Arkansas played them at least, that was a top 15 caliber team. You took them down to the wire. You go back to the Georgia game. Yeah, Georgia's also, I don't know how they might be one of the bottom 3 teams in the SEC, but at the time they're playing okay basketball. What were they, 7-2 when they played Arkansas? Arkansas ran them out of the building. They have it in them that they could play at a pretty high level. Something's missing. It was good to see Justin Smith. I do not think Justin Smith was 100%. He just did not look himself up until his injury. You know, he just kind of looked, I don't know. And he played a lot of minutes. He was out there a lot. And I saw him when he finally did get called to the bench. You could just see it on him. He looked exhausted, and he hadn't been on the floor for more than maybe a portion of the first half. But I mean, he looked completely checked out by half. And so it's going to, and I said before, give him a couple of weeks maybe, or at least a week. Get 2 or 3 games under his belt before we really see him start to come back. But they just look discombobulated. They don't look cohesive. They're just their shot selection is just garbage. There's too much. Someone brought this up on Twitter. Maybe it was Pinto. He brought up a really good point. There's just so much passing out on the perimeter, and nobody was trying to make any moves inside, and there's a reason for that. There's a reason why no one was trying to make dives inside. They don't have an inside presence, even with the size, even with the talent. Well, guys that were highly rated out of high school, and then of course you've got the 7'3" guy who gets turned into a poster there in the second half, gets dunked on. I mean, that's an Alabama poster for life. That guy, I mean, you just got dunked on. 7'3" guy just got pushed out of the way like he's nothing. You don't have an inside presence, and it's incredible. I mean, I really just, there's so many things that you have to circle. And the craziest thing is they are all fixable because of the depth and the skill and the athleticism and the things that I say every damn week. Every single post game I say this. You've got it in you. Make it happen on the floor. Maybe, again, it is entirely possible that Alabama and LSU are just that damn good. They are really legitimate teams. I don't know if that's the case. I'm skeptical. I mean, my God, LSU has, the best talent that money can buy, and then you've got Bama, who's just got a hell of a coach, and they've got talent. If you don't have Moses Moody in this thing, you get blown out by 40. And there's a lot of concern with this team right now. Yeah. Let me hang on a second. Let me get pulled up here. Let me get everything up to snuff. Make sure everything's on the up and up. Do me a favor. You guys are in here. We've had over 60 people. Let's get those likes up. Let's do that. Let me scroll up here. Get caught up on chat. Got a few of you that need to that shiny-headed idiot. What? Okay. Man can't even score 60. I cannot explain what's going on here. I stopped watching around the 18-minute mark in the second. Clearly didn't miss out. Says Arkansas Wolf. I want to know what the letter they received was. We've been tanking ever since. Really tough luck, but I'm willing to give us the benefit of the doubt. I am too. I'm kind of curious as to what's. And when that letter was written, Arkansas was playing pretty good basketball. And it's like, what is this guy bitching about? Maybe he does know something we don't. I don't know. First time I've had to turn off an Arkansas basketball game twice in a row before the half, let alone once. We look like absolute shit right now. Well, Connor got sick after he bulked up and lost all his gains, unfortunately. I mean, how much weight did he put on in the offseason? Because he kind of looks the same to me. Remember early in Anderson's tenure, there were a lot of adverse things happen, and then our team tanked. Specifically, the Marshawn Powell injury that ruined year 2. I'm giving Muss a chance. Turnovers galore. My God. What'd they have? How many in the first half? Was it 11 turnovers in the first half? Like, that's not good for an entire game. And to have that in the first half, and then Alabama, open looks, open shots. I mean, they didn't miss. We'll get to the numbers here in just a second. Pathetic performance. Tony Brown says, I still have hope. Well, not a lot, at least some. And, look, this my takeaway. Look, we need to reevaluate what this team is capable of doing. Because, again, I think it's 11 new players. during a COVID year, maybe, we looked at this recruiting class. We looked at the size that you had. You looked at everything, all the positives that you didn't have last year. And you saw how this team, had they gone further in the SEC tournament, God only knows what they could have done. They probably would have been on the bubble, and possibly, depending on how far they went in the SEC tournament, were at least in the conversation to make the tournament. And that was with guys that aren't his, with no size, with a huge issue of no size and no depth inside. You enjoyed the guard play, but where was everything else? This year you have everything else. And that's why everyone was so hyped up. Me included. I know several of you, and I know people that have turned already on Musselman were some of his biggest fans. Even after we hired him last year, before we even saw any performance, they were big on this hire, and people are jumping ship. Again, I'm not telling you not to, and I'm not, whatever. I'm not going to stand in your way either way here. But you have those questions answered, and people are criticizing him going after transfers. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe you got these guys that are transfers that come in, and you've got these true freshmen you got to keep happy. How does that look down the road? And that's a good question. I think that's a legitimate question to ask, and maybe that's part of the reason why they're having a hard time gelling. I don't buy that entirely. Maybe there's some level of truth to it, but the reason why I'm a little skeptical of that argument is because we have seen them play well as a unit. Again, Tennessee at the time, a legit top 15, top 20 team, and Arkansas took them down to the wire. And I don't know how far Tennessee goes, but I love that performance. And in all honesty, that's your best performance of the year between that and Georgia, right? Between that game and the Georgia game, as far as in conference play, those are your two best performances. You're going to need to start. You're going to need the it factor wins, right? When we start talking about the NCAA tournament, when you start getting into the final weeks of February, into the final games, you need the it factor wins. Right now, they don't have any. They have none. Unless the Auburn game, unless Auburn turns it around, they appear to be getting healthy and they're starting to turn things around. Maybe they go on and have a great year. I don't know. That just makes you wonder. You got them coming up. I don't know. We're going to have to clean the slate. Our expectations of this team, maybe everyone needs to come down and just be grounded. Yeah, you're going to have to deal with the I told you so people. I mean, they're always there. Those people tend to be already pessimistic as it is, right? A lot of them. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And yeah, you're going to have to deal with some of that. I'm used to it. Don't feel bad. I'm right there with you. But, the Captain Hindsighters and the I told you so's and the always or 75% of the time pessimistic because they're tired of Arkansas being bad or not up to their level of expectations. And so they just kind of take it out on everybody on social media, in the YouTube comments, sometimes in our Discord, on Facebook, especially on Facebook. You just got to deal with it. But the truth is, I think the expectations and everything that you had for this team in terms of how far you thought they would go needs to be reevaluated. I'm not saying that they're not going to the tournament, but I am telling you I'm cleaning the slate right now. Until they can – now it's kind of similar with the Connor Vanover experience, right, with what we've seen so far. Like I'm you're going to have to prove it to me now. You're going to have to prove to me that you're a tournament team. You're going to have to at least show me some evidence that you can be consistently good in this league and good enough that you can play like a tournament team. I thought that Georgia game and the Tennessee game, we saw them play like a tournament team. But since then, these last two games, atrocious. I mean, batshit garbage atrocious. That's how bad it's been the last two games. So bad that I had to delete I hadn't tweeted it, but I had typed out. I had it typed out. I just didn't push it through. That once again, another game decided in the first half. And what happens by halftime? Fans asking Phil Elson about baseball season. I'm tired of that. I'm tired of being. I'm tired of having to look at where we're at in the season. We just started conference play not that long ago, and we're already saying, click, it's time for baseball season. And I don't know. We've got Kevin Bohannon on the Hog Talk podcast who could tell us a lot more about what's going on in baseball. I don't know what to expect in baseball, so if you ask me those questions, I'm not up to snuff yet on what's going on there. Let's hope that they can I don't know, get off to a better start than how they started off last year. But Hog fans are just ready to be proud of something. And fortunately, baseball's been about the only consistent thing that you've been able to be proud of. I wanted to see that change. Let's be real here. How many fans or how many people are in the state of Arkansas? What are we talking? 3 million people? What percentage of them do you think are honest to God baseball fans? We have the most diehard baseball fans. I truly believe that. We have some of the best baseball fans in all of college baseball, not just in the SEC, but in all of college baseball. I mean, we treat them like the major league here. But in all seriousness, what percentage of fans really give a damn about college baseball? Hell, War Machine will tell you on Twitter. He's just not, he doesn't give a damn. You know, and for the fans who love that, and I love college baseball, I love the Razorbacks. Don't keep up with them like Cabo does. But I'm ready for the two sports that the majority of this state love in basketball and football. I'm ready for those two sports to be something that we can be proud of. And not to say anything bad about Sam Pittman. I mean, we all know that team realistically won 4 conference games year one. You could be proud of that. But I'm ready to not have to turn the channel anymore. I'm ready to say I'm not looking forward to the next sport. I want to revel in this one. I want to watch this and see this bad boy unfold and watch how this year goes because I'm so excited. We haven't had that in either one of these sports, in the two major sports, in a long time. Again, nothing against baseball. You guys who've been around long enough, you know that I try to keep up with Razorback baseball as best I can. I don't make a lot of content around it. You might see me around around the baseball stadium, around Baum Walker. You might see me there. You might see me walking around and maybe even taking video or something and trying to keep up. But I don't keep up with it like I do with football and basketball. And I'm ready for them. And it's great to have baseball success, too, the success that they've had. But I'm ready to see football and basketball turn the corner. For Hog fans to be proud of what's going on in those two in those two sports. So, I don't know. I know a lot of you are baseball fans or diehard fans. Kelly Marie, she's a diehard baseball fan. She's in our chat quite a bit usually. For whatever reason, our guys can't form a unit. They don't trust each other when things get tough. You know what I saw tonight that was interesting? I saw them actually pass up open three-pointers tonight. Like, even kind of early on, even when Bama only had like an 8 or 10-point lead or whatever it was, I saw Jalen Williams pull one in. Like, he was ready, and then he pulled it in, and he passed it around out on the perimeter. And I mean, you want shooters to shoot. I got scolded for that on Twitter when Isaiah Joe last year went like, there was a game where he was just dead cold, 0 for 7, 0 for 8, whatever it was. Arkansas wasn't hitting him deep, and I said, all right, maybe we need to start diving inside. Maybe we need to do what we can. Let's get Ethan Henderson on the floor a little more. Let's figure something out inside because they're dead cold right now. They're not hitting them deep. I got scolded for that, but I mean, in those games, Arkansas was trailing by quite a bit, and that's typically the answer. It's either let your shooters shoot, and I get that. But I'm a lot more comfortable, and I think most people are who've watched enough basketball. When you can't knock down deep shots, you need to be able to dump it off inside and get some easy points in the bucket. Do whatever you have to do to get points down low. If that means forcing the officials to blow the whistles more, get guys in foul trouble, so be it. You find a way to kind of chip away at the lead. And last year, it was just shoot your way out of trouble. Sometimes it worked. Sometimes it didn't. In this game, I saw them pass up open looks outside, and I thought, well, now wait a minute. You're only down 10, 12 points, and you're passing up open looks. And I saw that a couple of times in the first half, and I saw it a couple more times in the second half. JD Chokte. To be fair, JD has been on point this year coming off the bench. He didn't have a good game tonight. He's been a little bit of he's had the turnover bug. I don't know. Mrs. Crowlove, Ty, sad face, or crying face. I know. We got to hold tight together. I don't have any answers for anybody. I really thought Justin Smith would help us a lot more. First game back after missing how many games? I've said it here multiple times. I said on the Hog Talk, guys, don't expect him to come in the first 2-3 games back and light it up. For him to he got the start tonight. That was huge. Mike and Mary Hoggard, they are uptight, playing stiff. They are more worried about getting 4 to 5 passes than taking the shot that flows and is open. When they flow, they go. Well, yeah, I mean, when you're in rhythm and everybody's in rhythm and they're able to play at a little bit faster pace, they seem to play better. That's their game. It's kind of like Kendall Brow's offense in football. The faster you go, the more effective that offense is. The transfers are hot garbage. I don't know if I agree with that. I don't know if I agree with that at all. Justin, you've had a couple of transfers stand out. Moses Moody will be a lottery pick. He's sure looking like it. I don't disagree with that right now. He's playing out of his mind, and it's unfortunate if they can't get this figured out this year. It's unfortunate he was here to have this kind of season if things don't get fixed. You know, you want him here. You want that kind of – you're only one and done in school history. You would like for him to be here in a year where you're phenomenal and you make the tournament, maybe you make a run. I don't know right now the way that they've played these last 2 games. I don't know if that happens. Jenna Mayes says, I will never jump ship, just won't be as enthusiastic. I've never let's see. I've just been waiting for baseball season since March 11th. Wow, Hogs are a joke this year. Well, I mean, these last couple of games they have been. What does Barkley say? We're terrible. Alex. Ty, do we get over the hump without a guy like Corliss down low, and how long until we find another like him? Well, you haven't found one really since Corliss. I mean, yeah, you've had decent runs. You know, maybe they didn't end the way you wanted in the SEC or in the NCAA tournament, but you've had decent runs without a Corliss Williamson down low. But I said it. You're going to play teams that have a little bit more size, I think, this year than what they did a year ago. And the league, even though you lost a lot of talent in the SEC, it appears several teams have just stocked right back up. Alabama, this is unlike them. Obviously, they're not known for basketball. I absolutely hate the fact that they're undefeated in conference play and they just won a freaking national title. Like, share the wealth, man. You just won the national title in football, and now you want to go out there and dominate in basketball. They look good, and they just clearly are. You know, they said they were more talented. They definitely were tonight, and they definitely have looked that way since conference play. They have. They've at least played at a much higher level than anyone thought they would. Everyone's surprised. I think Alabama fans are shocked. I think Alabama is shocked. I say again, players only meeting tonight when home from Bama. Yeah, well, I agree. I wish Arkansas would have had a lot harder non-conference schedules, so I don't get my hopes up so high just to get them dropped off a cliff during games like this. Christian says, Ty, how do you feel about Musselman's attitude? Patrick has had to fist bump Oates because I didn't see that, because Muss stormed out. I understand being upset after a loss, but being petty, not down with it. I didn't see that. If that happened, I don't like that. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. I don't like that. Sportsmanship matters. I don't mind playing with a chip on your shoulder and getting a little physical out there on the floor or on the field, but spitting, we've had Razorbacks do that in football, spitting on players, I don't like that. Not shaking hands after getting your ass handed to you on the road, I don't like that. At home or on the road, I don't care. I don't like that. I hope that didn't happen. I'm not calling you a liar, Christian. I haven't seen that. And I know sometimes everyone just reads stuff on social media. I don't know if that really happened or not, but if it did, I don't like that. Jimmy Witt would have been nice right about now. I agree with that. I loved his game, man. I loved his game. I'm 6 foot, 290 pounds, and I'm sure I could score over Vanover in the post, and I know my three-point shot is way better. Is it better, though? I mean, he is capable of knocking down the trace, man. I mean, he is capable of doing that. But he's just – I'm kind of over the Connor Vanover experiment. I really am. You know, people blaming the lame non-conference schedule, and that probably did play a factor into it. But we got to remember, they had to make up for what they had. You know, they didn't cancel the games. You had COVID to deal with. People kind of forget that a little bit. Breathe, Ty. I'm fine. Don't ever tell me to breathe. Come on, I'm fine. I get a little worked up, but that's what I do here. What the hell happened to Desi? That's a good question. That is like the $1 million question. What the hell happened to Desi Sills? I don't know. Where'd he go? Where'd he go? Is he under here? Is he under my paperwork? Is he under my PlayStation 3 that I have in here, hooked up to the TV, mounted to the wall? Where is he? Is he under my keyboard? Where you at, Desi? Where the hell did this guy go? Because I don't know. I mean, he was such a big factor early on, and he has turned into I don't know. You don't ever know when to expect him to have a good game. Moses Moody has taken over that spot, and maybe that's kind of played a little bit of the factor there. I don't know. We don't have anyone that can drive and get fouled. They don't. What about dudes slamming over Vanover? Yeah, I think you're a little late, TJ, but I mentioned that earlier. It's just embarrassing. Oklahoma State will do the same today. They will. Team didn't really play well against the Hogs. Wait, who? I don't know who you're talking about. Bama beats Tennessee by 8 points. Kryptonite TW says, bottom line is we don't have shooters. Moses is the only elite guard, and teams like Alabama and LSU have at least 3 elite guards. Huma Kuvala says, I think it all goes back to relying on each other. These guys don't, and they don't trust each other when it gets tough. Fishman's is out. Okay, I'll see you, Fishman. Sorry, I probably wasn't reading his chat. I think he bolted. I'm sorry. It's hard to keep up with chat, man. I gotta read down this thing. Baseball doesn't have a schedule up. Okay. Mitchell Ramey says, I don't get why people keep comparing Muss to MA's tenure. That's a good point. Didn't we have to fire MA to get an upgrade? So why would we be cool with Muss taking 3 years to reach the tournament just because it took MA 3 years? Well, I thought it was 4. Wasn't it 4 years? How long did it take him to get to the tournament? I thought it was 4 years. You fired Mike Anderson because there was zero excitement around Arkansas basketball after 8 seasons. And it was the right call. It was absolutely the right call. It didn't look like things were getting better. He underperformed in tournament play when he got there. The fact that it took him so long to get there, and then when he got there, he underperformed. And, people chalk it up to, well, you had to play North Carolina. But then you have to answer for the one and dones. Like, I completely agreed with it. Had it been year 5, I wouldn't have been okay with it. It took him a while. And, again, it's not fair to compare the two, to compare Mike Anderson and Eric Musselman, but 11 new players on this roster in a COVID year. I don't know who else is having to deal with that. I think it's 11. Is that the right number? It's something like that. 10 or 11. It's a lot. It's a ton of turnover with your 2 best players gone from a year ago, and your top 3 players from a year ago gone. How do you make up for that? That's tough. I'm not making excuses for the guy. I think he's been outcoached the last 2 weeks. He got his ass handed to him. It's going to be about how he responds. He has the experience at multiple levels, at the highest level, all the way down to a G League level, when he was at Nevada. I like the hire, and I still do, but I want to see him respond. And maybe they just can't get it done this year. Maybe that was just too much turnover and too many new faces to deal with in 1 year, combined with COVID and the restrictions and the regulations that you had to put up with. Maybe it was just a perfect storm for year 2 to sink. I don't know. I'm going to give him a shot. Even if you completely lose out and you're absolute garbage, yeah, my tune's going to change. I'm not saying I'm going to call for his head. I'm not going to say I'm going to call for him to be fired, but I'll tell you what, the heat will turn up. His seat will start to warm up, as it should. That doesn't mean you fire him after 2 years, and that's ridiculous. People saying to fire him right now are just having an emotional reaction to what's happened the last couple of games. I hate watching baseball, but I love the Omahawks. Get caught up here. I wish I liked baseball. Imagine being a Hawk fan and only likes football and basketball and doesn't care about the only major sport we're good at. Well, we're also good at track, and you don't ever see that get mentioned anywhere. Like, they are an elite track school, and that gets no mention. I just got back from Twitter, and it looked up Eric Musselman. It's not pretty. Did it happen? Are you talking about the handshake? Man, I ain't about that. Exactly. He got outcoached today, and his response was disappointing. Yeah. I agree with that. If that happened, that's very disappointing. I get not liking. I get hating to lose. I hate losing. As Hawk fans, you're just kind of used to it. But I can remember, playing football or baseball, basketball, whatever. I hated losing. But you learn to cope with it, right? Like, you have to understand. You got to be a good sport about it. You don't want to look like some crybaby asshole, right? Like, shake his hand, tell him good game, and go back to the drawing board. I don't know. Sounds like a sore loser. What do you think about football team next year? I'm not there yet, Zachary. We're trying to do the post game on this game. I have an idea of some stuff I want to do, talking about, doing another edited video on recruiting and talking about, grading out what they did this year and then some of the expectations for next year. But I'm going to wait a little bit on that. I said breathe when you were speaking 1,000 words a second. Oh, well, I'm good. I'm fine. We haven't been beaten by Bama this bad since football season. Isn't that sad? That's crazy. Out of first 10 posts on Twitter about Musselman, 7 were about firing him. I'm just amazed. Yeah, that's crazy. Gamemanship. Show respect to the other players. They were better than you. Yeah, exactly. How much of this do you think is on Muss? How much is this on players? Last year, we were stronger mentally with less talent. I don't know. Execution was an issue, and it has been. And we saw that even in some of the wins, some of the ugly wins. Oral Roberts, you go back to that game. There's some major execution issues. Trouble with the turnover. The turnovers were absolutely horrific. And shot selection has been a continued issue for this team. The transition defense has been bad, and then I don't know. There's been some moments where I'm wondering why Eric Musselman's not calling more timeouts. But as far as matchups, like I have a hard time challenging the matchup when he makes his switches. During a timeout or whatever, during a trip to the free throw line, I have a hard time. I think he's still trying to figure out really his best five. I still think that a little bit of that's going on. And is that a reflection of coaching, or is that a reflection of just poor execution by the guys on the floor? I truly don't know. They do run set plays, but there have been times when it's like, where are they? Why aren't they posting up more? Why are they still so bad in the paint? Why can't they finish at the rim? Why do they get mixed up off screens? Like, their defense looks lost at times. Not even just transition defense, but even when the opposing offense is running a set play or whatever, they get lost, and somehow or another a player gets wide open out on the perimeter and they have an uncontested shot out at 3-point range. How many open looks did Alabama have? How many open looks did LSU have? I don't know. Maybe it's 50-50. I mean, that would be my only response to that question. It's 50-50. It just kind of is what it is. Mike Ewing says everybody needs to calm down. I don't blame people for getting a little animated on social media. I mean, that's what fans do, and they should. You should absolutely. I agree with Mike Irwin and anybody else who says, you know what, you need to vent a little bit. Do it. Coaches need to hear this. They can't just lock themselves up in their closet somewhere and whine and cry about it. Like, this is how you demand better. But if you're calling for coaches to be fired, you need to chill. I get animated. I'm not calling for Musselman to get fired. I don't want anybody fired. I want them to work and fix the problem. If that means going back to the chalkboard and reevaluating and doing what you need to do to make this team better moving forward, so be it. You don't fire people. It's amazing to me the response to that. Like, it's just like that. Fire him. Fire him all. He's a bum. Where would you be if you had that kind of mentality towards any coach in any sport? There'd be such massive coaching turnover every year. Nobody would want to come coach for you. You have to let them work it out, right? And it's still too early. again, with the new faces and all the restrictions you had to work with this year, really, maybe we shouldn't be surprised at what we're seeing on the floor. Maybe we did overhype them just because they had a pretty solid year one under Musselman, and they answered a lot of the problems that they had from a year ago. And they upped the talent big time in terms of the incoming freshmen and even some of the transfer guys. You know, maybe this is who they are. Maybe the reality is this is a team that's going to be lucky to get to 14 wins, 15 wins. And, you know, they miss out on postseason play, but then they build up for next year. That could very well be their identity this year as a team that offensively, if Moses Moody isn't knocking them down, if Desi Sills remains cold, if you can't rely on anybody else to put up some points, obviously we're not going to be able to rely on anybody down in the paint to get you some automatic points until Justin Smith, I think, gets to 100%. I think the healthier Justin Smith gets, you're going to see that change a little bit, but maybe that's their identity. Maybe this is a worse year than we thought, and that's, you know what? I can live with that based on the amount of, I mean, I'd rather not, and I'm definitely going to bitch and gripe about it here. I'm definitely going to be right there with you guys complaining about what the hell we're watching, especially like what we've seen these last two games. But I all that I ask is don't get blown out again, and just, I don't know, find a way to get some wins that nobody expects you to win, and try to find whatever win you can get, right? And maybe that is this team's identity. That non-conference schedule, I do think, bit them in the ass. I do think that it did. I don't think they played anybody worth a damn. I mean, obviously, there are several teams you had to look up and Google where the hell they even played basketball. That's not a good sign. And again, that's not on the University of Arkansas. Unfortunately, you had to rearrange the schedule a little bit. Would you say, I don't know what that is, explosion emoji, Bama had best game of the season on us? Probably. Yeah, probably so. Must rules. And look, man, you cannot overlook what this man has done in recruiting. Holy crap. And it looks like he's building another good class. But if you continue to look like this, how does that class look, a year from now? Thank you, Ty. Oh, you're welcome, Mike. It's what I do here, buddy. It's what I do here. How much of a role did Chris Crutchfield play defensively? We're not the same team. They're just not. They're not the same team. Ty, you're so right. 2 bad games in year 2, fired. Sounds pretty dumb. Yeah. We will be in the postseason, says Mike. And I think that's still in the cards for them because of the things that we have said every single week. The advantages that you have this year versus what you didn't have a year ago, and that team damn near was a bubble team, and who knows how the SEC tournament could have played out. Remember, you only played one tournament game before it got postponed or canceled because of COVID, and you won that game, if I remember right, pretty convincingly. Who knows how that could have played out? And you had a couple of marquee wins with wins on the road at Georgia Tech and Indiana. Indiana obviously being the bigger and better win. And you had some good games in SEC play. That's why I think everybody should pump their brakes on the Musselman hate. It's just too early. Again, I'll say it for anyone who wasn't here 5 minutes ago, we need to reevaluate the expectations of what this team can do in 2021. So Vanover got postered. Didn't get to see that. Was it pretty bad? I'm sure it's all over Twitter by now if it isn't. Talent is secondary to effort, and our effort hasn't looked this bad in a long time. I agree with that. Seth Kindred, way too early to call for Musselman's head. He's been a good coach so far. There's plenty of blame to go around. I agree. J.R. Shelton, Mrs. Growlove, he ain't wrong. What? Who ain't wrong? What happened? Who ain't wrong? Look, I got dinner to eat. I'm going to go finish this Ram game. What's the score? Oh, I closed it out. I closed out the game. I had it up, and I closed it out. Son of a gun. Last I saw, Green Bay was winning. I don't like the Rams' chances in that. Aaron Donald not playing 100%. Cooper Kupp's not 100%. Not really liking it. Not liking their odds. Green Bay's good. Ty, that's our society today. With everything from relationships to sports. When shit is tough, you just want to call it quits. You're not wrong, Jenna. Or when the going gets tough, you call everybody racist. There's that too. I was thinking about it. Muss had several leftovers from MA, and look at how strong we were in the face of adversity. I hope this isn't indicative of a team mentally going forward. This isn't indicative of a team mentally going forward. What did Mrs. Growlove say? Everyone's responding to Mrs. Growlove. Let's scroll up here. I don't have my glasses, but what did she say? I don't see it. What are y'all talking about? Jarrett Fountain said, look at Bo Mattingly tweet. He said Eric got into a screaming match with players and coaches. Oh. See, you don't like to see that. You don't like to see that. I hate that. Like, man, come on. I don't know what Mrs. Growlove's. Was it something that I read earlier from her? I don't know. Maybe someone will get me caught up in chat. This tweet came from a fake account. Hang on. Hold on. What's going on? You guys are talking about this thing escalating. Let's look. Go to Twitter. Come on. Let's go look up Bo Mattingly. Did Bo Mattingly say something? Let's see. Scrolling down. I don't see anything from Bo Mattingly. I'm looking at the right account. I'm not seeing anything on Bo. So that had to be a fake account. Here, why don't I do this so you guys know what I'm looking at? Why don't we do this? There we go. Let's look at my notifications. Maybe somebody put me in a tweet that could give me an idea of what the hell's going on. I know. Let's look at our old pal Pinto. Pinto would comment on something like that. Oh, ESPNto. Let's see. I expected to lose these past two. Yeah, I think most fans should have versus these talented teams, but as a fan, so nothing there on drama though. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not seeing anything. Hang on. Let's look up Musselman. All right. Oh, well, wait a minute. What's this? Is that fake account? Yes, it is. That's a fake account. Guys, you got to make sure you look at the follower count. See that? That's a follower account or a fake account. That's a bullshit account. Look at the followers. That is not a real account. And I think guys are trying. We've got to get back to work and continue to improve. Yeah, I'm not. Let's see. Eric Musselman and Mason Jones had a few verbal spats. There's Jacob talking about it. Bob Holt. So there was something here. Musselman coached. Is this team not responding to Muss's coaching? Oh, that's from 21 hours ago. Well, I don't know. I guess there was something. We'll have to find out more. We'll have to keep an eye on that. I don't know why I hit that button. There we go. We'll have to do a little bit of digging, find out what happened. I don't know. We can't make shots and we're not physical at all. We have no dog in this team. I just tagged you on the fake tweet. Oh, okay. All right. You faked. You tagged me. Yeah, that was a fake tweet. Yeah, that's fake. But it sounds like there probably was something, Mrs. Growlove, so you're not entirely wrong. Sounds like something happened. We'll have to do a little bit of digging. Yeah, but last year the whole team were dogs, just much less talented. I think, too, not knowing your role, like Pinto said there on Twitter, not knowing your role, maybe that has something to do with it. Again, like I mentioned 30 minutes ago here, 25, 30 minutes ago, maybe the combination of the transfers and the freshmen just aren't melding together quite well. I don't know. You're asking freshmen to come in and take on a huge role, right? Come in and play like and understand your role as if you're as an upperclassman. Maybe that's asking too much of them. I do agree that toughness just doesn't seem to be there outside of maybe Moses Moody. I've seen Sills at times this year. He was really tough. I like the way that Tate plays defensively. They've shown it. Individuals have shown it, but as a team, there's not that level of toughness that I want to see out of them. Jalen Williams has had moments. Like, we've had moments of toughness, but we've not seen them play as a cohesive unit effectively and being tough while doing so. Ty, did you catch Holloway versus Qatar? No, I didn't. I'm not a big UFC guy. I will watch what's his name? Bryce Mitchell, the guy from Arkansas. Anytime you put a mic in my face, I'm gonna say Arkansas. I'll watch him. Conor McGregor, because he's a character. You know, I'm not a big UFC guy, if I'm being honest. I have people all the time that tell me, you know, I need to watch it more. Jared, I don't know what you said, but it looked like you got deleted, brother. I never got the feeling tonight we were getting outplayed, though. Let's see. I never got the feeling tonight we were getting outplayed, though. Is it just me? Unforced turnovers, missed shots. Yeah, ball handling continues to be an issue. Okay, we're gonna go over numbers here, and then I'm gonna call it a night. But something I noted, you had 6 turnovers in the first 6.5 minutes of play. Moody was the only scoring force in the first. He's the only scoring force the entire game. He had 14 in the first half. Ethan had. I noted he had a lot of playing time in the first half. This is the most minutes he's played all year in conference play, and it was a 42-19 ball game at halftime. The game was decided at half. That's 2 games now in a row. That's got to change. Musselman, I'm sure, is frustrated. I want to see better sportsmanship out of him. I hope that's a bunch of bullshit about him not wanting to shake people's hands. You got to be better than that, man. You got to be better than that. That's not how we do things in Arkansas. Like, if we get our ass whooped, you shake their hands, tell them good game, and you get back to it. You know, and you get these guys back to the way they were playing coming into conference play, and the way you played against Auburn, the way you played against Tennessee on the road, the way you played against Georgia. You need to come back to that. We need that. That's the play we need. These last 2 games, you want to put them out of your mind. You want to improve and understand what you did wrong in those 2 games. Don't get me wrong, but it's time to move forward. Enough of this not shaking people's hands bullshit. Like, I don't want to see that. I don't ever want to hear that. Shake his hand. Be a man about it. Go back. Don't throw your players under the bus. Take it under the chin. Put it on yourself. It's on me. I got to fix this. Just simple as that. That's it. And fans will respect you for that. What they won't respect and what they won't respond to is if that stuff is true about him not shaking hands and just walking off the court. Now, if he got ejected, that's one thing, but I don't think that was the case. All right, going over these numbers. I got animated earlier, and I completely forgot. You shot horrible. Let's go over Bama's numbers first. Bama shot, once again, what was LSU, 40-something%? These guys did not miss. They were 31 of 64 from the floor. 48% from the floor. Almost 42% at 3-point range. They were 15 of 36, but they were not good at the free throw line. Well, they were only up there. They only took 17 shots. By the way, another good officiated game. I'll say it. Another good officiated game. I don't care. Don't at me, bro. I don't care. I thought once again the SEC let them play. You know, and I know someone's going to say, well, that's why it got out of hand. Well, you need to rely on the play of how you play and not on an official blowing his whistle. That almost rhymed. But they were 76%, 13 of 17. I knew they had depth. I mean, they rotated, and of course, because they had a huge blowout, they played the guys that didn't normally play. But they didn't get a ton of production from their bench, but they got a little bit. You know, their leading scorer off the bench was a guy named Gary. Gary had 9 points, 3 blocks, 3 rebounds. I don't know how many minutes he logged. I'd like to refresh that. Will it give me my minutes? Yes, there we go. Boom. Gary logged 7 minutes. He had 9 points and 3 blocks and a steal and 3 rebounds in 7 minutes of play. You had this guy off the bench punk you. That's ridiculous. Their leading scorer, Petty Jr., no surprise there. This guy was 5 of 9 at 3-point range. Unbelievable performance by him. 17 points. I would argue that Moses Moody deserves MVP of the game. Moses Moody was also 3 of 7 at 3-point range, 10 of 25 from the floor, and he ended the game with more points. He also had 9 rebounds. Moody, by the way, I love the way that guy attacks the boards and tries to get second chance shots. So Arkansas, your bench, nowhere to really be found. J.D. Note, we know he was nursing a shoulder injury. Horrible. Once again, another 30% percentage from the floor, shooting from the floor at 33%. 4 of 17. They were chasing the Razorbacks off the line or off the perimeter, off the perimeter They did not give Arkansas very many open looks. I don't know that I saw, but maybe one, maybe two at the most on 17 attempts. They knocked down 4 of 17. To be honest, I thought it was like 2 of 19 or something. 4 of 17 there. Then you had you were 72% at the free throw line. You were 13 of 18 there. And again, Moses Moody is I really think he's your MVP of the game. He was 100% at the free throw line, 3 of 7 at 3-point range, 10 of 25 from the floor. He logged 35 minutes and had 28 points. I get it. Petty was good, but he didn't have 9 rebounds. He didn't have 28 points. You know, I mean, yeah, he knocked down some threes. Okay, he knocked down a couple more threes, but Moody put this team on his shoulders. Unfortunately, it just was nowhere near enough. Not enough people stepping up and playing. I thought Ethan Henderson defensively logged some pretty good minutes tonight. He had 15 minutes. That's the most time he's logged all year. That's the most time he logged all year in conference play. He was 1 of 2 from the floor. He ended up with 2 points, but he had 4 rebounds, 3 blocks. He only turned the ball over once. Tate had 6 turnovers. I'm telling you, he's wild. Note's good for 3 or 4 turnovers a game, but tonight, he only got 18 minutes. It just wasn't effective. He was 1 of 3. He did knock down a 3. I must have missed that. I was flipping back and forth between this game and the Ram game a little bit, but yeah. So there you go. There's your numbers. I appreciate you guys. That's going to do it. I'm gonna flip back, watch this Ram game. I'm sure they're getting absolutely killed. Yay! What a weekend. It is what it is. Maybe they'll beat Green Bay. I don't know. Been some pretty epic games between the Rams and the Packers. All right, you guys, thank you so much. Patreon supporters, appreciate you guys. I don't know what to tell you. Just to like I've said before with football, just be along for the ride. My expectations are completely. I've hit the reset button on expectations. I really don't know what to expect from here on out. Arkansas has, I don't know the schedule. We thought it would be easier after Alabama. I don't know. Auburn's starting to play a little bit better. Vanderbilt is a team. They're going to try and knock down threes. They're going to attempt a minimum of 23-pointers outside, a minimum. Ole Miss, you should win that. You should win that game, and then you got to play Oklahoma State on the road. Right now, as it looks, Alabama 6-0, 11-3 on the year. LSU's next up at 4-1. They're 9-2 on the year. Mississippi State 9-5, but they're 4-2. So Tennessee's 3-1, Kentucky 3-2, and Florida 3-3. Right now, other than those guys, everyone else just kind of, fighting to be behind those guys. Arkansas's among them. You're 2-4, 10-4 on the year now. We'll see what they can do in Bud Walton against Auburn. That's at 8 p.m. I hate that. I hate that's a late game. I hate that that's that late. We got to record the pod after. That sucks, but is what it is. Hopefully they respond and play a little bit better basketball. So, like I said, level your expectations from here on out. Maybe they'll get it figured out. I don't know. Feel like when we are down in a bad game, Musk kind of fades out and isn't in the huddle. I don't know. Maybe just me. I don't know. Maybe that is something that needs to be addressed. So, all right. Appreciate you guys again. Remember, please check out all the links provided for you down below. Hog Talk Podcast link is down there if you guys want to get caught up on those. Like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. So, appreciate you guys. There will be I don't know if I'm going to do a Monday show or not, but there will definitely 90% likely that I have a post-game show for the Auburn game. And I am, again, for those of you that have asked, I am working on some more edited content that I want to get out this week. Maybe I'll have time. But, yeah. So, woo pig suey. I'll see you guys next time. All right, go Hogs.